Podcast, Picks and Perspective with Chris Johnson.
Episode number 28 with Mark Speer of Khruangbin. This man is a self-taught master of the instrument, and he has exactly one guitar pick. One. You should go listen to his music on the Players Pick podcast playlist on Spotify. There it is.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
This is a total dream. You have such a unique story around guitar picks, and I appreciate that you take the time and consider doing something like this for me.
Oh man, absolutely.
It's amazing. On Players Pick podcast, what I'm always asking is, where did your relationship start with a guitar pick? And do you remember your first couple? And how did you kind of get to the one that you play now?
I think the first one I ever had was one of those like really, really skinny ones. That just basically just like the thinnest piece of plastic.
Okay.
I don't know why. That's just what, that's what I liked.
Yeah. It was
I had just started playing guitar, so.
About what age?
Maybe 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it from like a guitar shop or from a guitar teacher maybe, or?
I never had a guitar teacher. It might have been just like from a friend or something. Might
That's
have had
cool.
One. Oh, can I have this pick? He's like, yeah, sure. I don't like those anyway.
Right. And like a celluloid type of thing, like a real thin type of
It
thing.
was. I think it was like nylon.
Oh, okay.
Like it was just like super bendy.
Yeah, like a 50 or a 60 or
something is
small.
the skinniest possible. I was just basically like strumming. I wasn't doing lead guitar parts or anything.
Got it. And then did you wake up one day and say, "Oh, this wasn't working, and I need to try something else"? Or
no, I think it's at another point in my life. I had to borrow a pick that was the green one that I use now.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of went from there. I haven't really done a whole lot of experimenting with them. I know I don't really like the really thick ones.
Right.
I like the little jazz picks. Those are kind of cool. But as long as it's the green guy. It's got to bend a little bit. Not too much, though.
Right. The 88 Dunlop is pretty... It's like... That's why it's so popular.
So I couldn't tell you how thick these are. I don't even know.
Well, yours are 88.
Okay.
Originally they were. Yours have probably lost a little bit, but... at least shape-wise, but like the thickness, I don't know that it's really wearing away the thickness yet.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, is it still holding up?
So I have the same one.
Damn,
It just goes right where I put it. Just stop playing and put it in the pick guard, and it never goes anywhere. So
it's amazing. So for those that don't know, can you tell us like about how long ago you started using this particular pick?
Jeez, it's definitely been at least 4 or 5 years.
Really,
on this particular one. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, and it was just became the magic thing at one point.
Yeah,
it's like that's the one.
I mean, at a certain point, if you go from playing this super worn down pick to a brand new one, it like feel completely different. So it's
right.
Be really weird.
100%.
Like if I'm at a guitar shop trying guitar, which I am never doing because usually they don't have flat wounds on the guitar, and usually it's not a super worn down pick, so it feels really strange. I couldn't be like, yeah, this guitar feels great. Like I have no idea. I got to put my strings on it. Got to do my setup and play with my actual pick, and then it would make more sense. Yeah.
What an interest. Yeah, you're such a unique player in that way that not only do you nobody that I know really uses the flat wounds. I'm sure some people out there use them, right? But
yeah.
But I don't know. Who inspired you to use flat wounds?
It was a friend of mine from Houston, Texas, named Kerry Melanson. He played in a band called Satin Hooks, and he was really adamant about having his guitar be played with flats and the bass being played with rounds. But he played like really thick flats. And I was like, well, I don't really like the tension on these, so let me see what I can do about making it feel more about what I was used to. But I love the sound of them. So I just did the whole, get rid of the big E and put a 10 where the high E should go, and just went that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. It obviously creates a very specific sound in congruence with like how you have the wah set up, always on, and your amp dialed in a certain way, and
yeah, there's a heavy tendency for pushing treble everywhere else because the guitar itself, I mean, with the flats on it, it's kind of it's kind of dark, but it's very clear tone, very like fundamental heavy instead of a bunch of harmonics on top.
Right, because the wraps actually add this extra harmonic content.
Yeah, the rounds, they're just brighter, so they have all this upper harmonic stuff, but the flats are very pure tone.
Does it kind of feel like a little easier to control that way for you, or
like control what?
Like control like the reverb and the sound out of the amps, the ultimate sound that you're getting.
I don't know if I really think about it like that, but I guess yeah. I mean, I'm just used to playing with this setup. It's been the same way for years now.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I've tried playing. I remember I popped a string at some show and I had to use a backup, and it's like, whoa, this does not sound right. I can't afford to be putting flats on every backup guitar that shows up to the shows.
Right.
We could usually just renting them.
Got it. Now, do you travel with a backup guitar?
When we're on a bus, yeah.
Okay.
And I try to get that kind of dialed in more like how I like it, but on these one-off festival dates or when we're flying in, it's just rental.
Right. So there's a rental backup guitar here?
I think so. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Hopefully I won't look at it at all.
Yeah. No, that's the dream, right? It's probably not very often that you do look at them.
No. Unless I'm kind of nervous about whether or not these strings are going to last, because I don't change it very often. If it's like, it's been a few months, I should probably take a look at that backup and make sure it's at least set up with the action close enough to where I like it.
Right. And what's the story of the year of the main guitar that you're using?
It's like a 2001 Fender made in Mexico 60s reissue Strat with the big headstock.
So it's the 70s style headstock.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
All maple, all like natural and woody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like those.
I do too, and you've made me like them even more, because now I would see the band every so often, and I'm like, man, Mark's, it just goes with the aesthetic.
Yeah,
you got the deal.
That's my vibe.
Yeah,
I like the finished fingerboard. It just is a little bit easier to bend, and I've replaced the frets on that about 3 times now because I've kind of worn them down. But they're really high, so it's really easy to bend without having your finger drag. Rosewood fretboards are really cool, but for some reason I just don't like feeling the grain underneath my finger, and it just drags too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You get enough sweat on those finished maple fingerboards, they just move.
They just glide out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So you guys are from Texas, right?
That's correct.
And you moved to LA for a little bit, but then you're just like on the road now forever.
Just on the road, yeah. Don't have a permanent place.
Is that are you still feeling that?
Yeah. It doesn't really make fiscal sense to not feel that. It's like, why am I going to pay rent on the spot I'm never at? So
true.
I do kind of miss having a place to go home to and have everything set up and ready to go, but it's you just get used to it.
Right. You probably just have the same type of rehearsal when you have to show up in a city and rehearse before you do the thing.
If we get a chance to rehearse, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of it's like going home, but do you go back home to Texas and do that?
Yeah, I mean we're renting a place right now for a couple months while we work on the record.
Cool.
And then we'll leave that place and go somewhere else.
Man, any concept of when we'll see the next record, like next year maybe, or
I want to say next year, but I can't put any guarantees on that.
Sure.
So
maybe 2020, but probably 2021 maybe.
I'm going to say if it's going to be 2020, it'll be like mid to maybe late 2020. I don't really know. I don't want to give any wrong information or
don't box it in.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to let the creativity flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way more important. Have you in all these travels, since you're perpetually on the road, I'm curious, like what do you have, any diet, exercise, any like rules to live by that kind of keep you like fit and ready to go?
I avoid fast food. I mean, I love hamburgers, love fries and all that kind of stuff, but I avoid all that stuff and just try to eat as healthy as possible. Don't drink a lot of beer on the road. I've been drinking beer at here at Desert Days because that's really easy to get.
Sure.
But usually just tequila is just kind of it. Just tequila. A lot of water. Got to drink as much water as you can. Try to get as much sleep as you can.
Yeah.
Eat right. Don't take that opportunity. Oh man, I'm on tour. I'm gonna just have whatever I want. You'd be surprised just how easy you can get sick, and then you have to play a show every night while you're getting over being sick. It's like that's not really a fun time. So yeah, we just try to stay healthy as much as possible.
Nice.
Do as much walking as you can. If there's a gym or exercise room, just I'm not much of a gym person, but get on that elliptical and just do that for like 45 minutes to an hour, and put a documentary on and just watch that and just go.
Nice.
It's kind of it.
if you had a choice of tequila, what would be your choice? Do you have a fave?
Oh man, at this point, I've been drinking a lot of different ones. I keep going to this same restaurant in Houston called Xochi, and they're known for a vast array of tequila they keep behind the bar. So they just keep bringing stuff. I don't even ask for stuff; they just bring
awesome
stuff out. Yeah, exactly. So some of my favorites, I don't even know if I can remember or pronounce them correctly, but I've been really enjoying añejos, like really old aged ones that might be like 5-6 years in the barrel, where they get kind of like this almost brandy vanilla-ish top end on it, which is really nice. And you can find other ones where they actually kind of put vanilla into it, and they put a little bit of coloring in it. It's like, well, I mean, that tastes good. It's just that I'd rather have the actual aged tequila.
Right, because the aged is probably in barrels, and that's how it gets some of that yumminess from the barrel. And
yeah, that's where the color comes from. I think they use like old whiskey barrels or cognac or brandy or whatever.
Okay.
I've been dipping my toe into mezcals as well.
Oh yeah,
those are fun.
Yeah, super. Also trouble if.
They can be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I've had trouble a few times.
But
I keep going back every once in a while because it's a fun type of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really a Scotch person. I feel like if I'm going to get into that sort of smoky, peaty vibe, it's going to be mezcal.
Same. Yes, the Scotch and the whiskey, I try every once in a while, but it's just not my vibe.
My whiskey days are behind me.
Yeah.
They were plenty of whiskey days, but it's just tequila now.
Got it. Do you have any kind of like life philosophy around? Like, do you follow anything in particular? Like, I mean, like it could be a religion or any like anything else out there that kind of like ties it in for you, or is kind of music your religion? Or
well, I mean, that question could be answered over the long period of time. It's not something I could really put into words quickly.
Sure.
So I'm going to go with yes, but I cannot get into details.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Thanks for letting us know that there is something.
There is something, of course, yeah.
Cool. Another time. Do you what do you think happens when we die?
Ooh, good question.
The short answer, of course. You don't have to go into the...
Short answer is, well, I kind of look at it more like a macro thing. It's like, here we are in this tiny speck of dirt in this galaxy, and ultimately the sun will get big enough to where it swallows up all the planets that it gives life to. So in some ways it's, who cares? It's all hopeless. In other ways it's like, well, in this moment is where you find hope. Because, you can either live your life as destructive as possible, or you can live it to try and make this moment you have as good as possible, because it's all kind of, we can do as much recycling and saving the planet as possible. But in a few billion years, it's all going to be melted into its base chemical.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't take care of where we are. You know what I mean? That just means that we have more of a reason to take care of it at this moment.
I like that perspective. That's. I mean, not a lot of people have that in-game perspective that, like, ultimately, none of this will.
None
this
of this
podcast won't exist, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to hold weight.
All of the records that we make and all the art we make, it's basically just a sand painting. It's all going to be blown away.
It's like the mandala, the monk's
exactly.
mandala, yeah. So that knowledge reflection brings you back to the now and keeps you more present.
It keeps me in the now, because if you think too much about, oh man, I'm making this record for my legacy. I mean, who knows how long your legacy is, dude? Like, make it for now. That's all we got.
Amen.
To paraphrase Wayne Coyne.
Oh, I dig that. That's like powerful. I had a yogi friend give a similar perspective, and in a class once, and where he was like, "This festival, this class is already over," and he kind of like did this fast forward thing, and then he's like, "And the sun is gonna explode, and none of this will be recorded. So how are you gonna live your life now? That
That's the ultimate question.
Yeah.
But of course, the ultimate question to life in the universe of everything is, everyone knows, is 42.
42. Yeah, that's exactly my age currently.
Dude, where's your towel?
It's in my bag.
Okay, great. As long as you know where your towel is, that's a Glooby Fruit right there. That's good stuff.
Very important.
Yeah.
I'm actually This has been an interesting year, being 42. I'm about to turn 43 next month, so I don't know if it goes away or as
long as you got your towel.
Yeah, if you got the towel, I guess it's cool, right? and I do know the answer, so
good.
So we're good. Is there you do one more show and then you're going to be off for a bit?
We have this show, and then we have another show in Houston coming up at the beginning of November, and then we do a little run down in South America.
Oh.
And then I think we go back to Europe, and then we have some time off to finish up last bits of the record and kind of prepare for, art and videos and releases and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's the idea.
Cool. That's exciting. I'm personally very excited about the new music and seeing where you guys take it.
Thanks, man.
I've really been enjoying the music that you've turned me on to in person the last couple times, but just following other interviews and stuff where you throw stuff out and I'm like, oh man, so I look it up on Spotify if it's on Spotify.
Sure.
Some of the stuff that you're into isn't quite there, which I love. I have to go find it on YouTube or somewhere else.
Yeah, what's funny is it just more and more stuff keeps popping up on Spotify. You'd be like, wow, this is so obscure and random and from some country that doesn't exist anymore, and it'll just somehow they've got the rights and they're putting it up there and it gives it a new life, and then people get into it, and then a company might find it and find the original publisher or the writer, and they'll reissue it, which gives it a new and before you know it, that guy might be touring again. It's happened many, many times over in the past couple of years.
Wow.
I like to see that happen. It's great. It's like people want to, talk down about streaming music. It's like, dude, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here, dude.
Would not be here.
Don't get caught up in that. Make something that, make something for now. You never know when it's going to pop back up again.
That's right. Yeah, and I can I really appreciate that perspective, because I feel like we get too caught up in this longer game that isn't promised to anyone.
Exactly. Nothing is promised.
No. And I'll have to say that one of the things I'm really in love with, and I think what we're all in love with as fans out here watching you and Laura and DJ play is how you kind of synthesize all your influences into this new thing, and that it feels timeless. To me, it feels really timeless. And
yeah. I'm still kind of wondering how the heck this is working for everybody, but I'm really feel very lucky and blessed that it is.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the next thought, is that how did this predominantly instrumental band, how do you guys headline all around the world now?
I don't know.
It's amazing.
I do not know.
You're
how
an
that
anomaly,
works.
man.
Yeah, super weird. Band name nobody can pronounce. Wearing weird outfits with instrumental music is that. I did not see that happening.
Yeah.
Worked on a bunch of different projects when I was a young lad, all kinds of different genres, just always trying to make something happen or follow a trend or trying something new or trying we got to think outside the box, And it's weird that this is the thing that people are digging. I'm like, cool, awesome.
Well, you did for me as a player and listener, it's so refreshing, because I'm always looking to hear how somebody's using the instrument differently, or has a different way of kind of presenting. It's all the same notes that we're all messing with, right?
Oh yeah, on a guitar? Oh,
yeah.
Jeez.
But you found with this project, you found a really unique way to in my opinion, to be a great guitar player, but not necessarily always be out front and be flashy. Meanwhile, you're doing great, interesting lead work, but because it's soaked in reverb, or the way that you've worked with Laura and the band to
yeah, it's a presentation.
Yeah.
I saw Nick Hakim last night in the tent stage back there, and it was wicked. I mean, it was amazing. One of my favorite artists right now is definitely Nick Hakim. But the other funny thing about him is I can't understand a word that he's singing, because his vocal is just drenched in echoes and verbs. I'm like, but see, I do the same shit, so I'm for it.
Right.
It just makes me want to go look at his lyrics and say, what are you talking about, dude? Awesome.
Sure. And there's anytime I find that with a vocalist, I do my best to also listen for how it's trying to be another instrument, and not for obviously they're kind of putting that in the background a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So,
but some of my favorite records have also been where it's let's just for instance, D'Angelo Voodoo, right? When that album came out, it's what is he talking about? First, you got to get past the fact that there's like 50 D'Angelos singing at the same time.
Totally.
Many multi-tracks, and so you might not be able to understand exactly what he's saying, and then finally you understand what words he's saying. Okay, well, what does that mean? So it's like, but if the music is good enough as a listener, you feel like you want to know more.
True.
If it's just lay it all bare out, it's like, well, okay, well, I know exactly what they're talking about, so there's no mystery, there's no reason for me to dig any deeper. So I like that whole philosophy of don't spell it all out. You gotta give the audience something to dig into and find something else. About what it is you're doing, or what you're saying.
I appreciate that as well.
I love lyrics that are kind of cryptic or that are open to interpretation.
Keeps it mysterious.
Yeah.
It keeps you, because it could be this for you, it could be that for them.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so nice, because it's different interpretation for everybody.
Man, that's a great example. D'Angelo's a perfect example, because even when Black Messiah dropped, and I was like super stoked on that, there's like a handful of songs, and the way the mix is, I'm like, wait, what? Like, you worked how long on this record to make it sound like it was a jam record? Like, and then I thought, oh well, maybe it's just the vibe because they're all in a room, and he just wanted to like take the takes that were kind of like there's all kinds of little mistakes where he drops off here and does these little things. And then I learned that he actually that record wasn't actually done in a room; it was passed around. Yeah, to a bunch of people.
Bunch of different studios, as far as I know. A lot of different players on it, and some of that stuff on that record, I think, might have been tracks that weren't used for Voodoo, as far as I know. But I could be wrong. I'm not an expert about that stuff.
Sure. It very well could be. I mean, there's a lot that kind of carries over, for sure.
But that, I guess, to me, that's what makes it so nice, because it connects the two records together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite track off of that one?
What, Messiah?
Yeah.
Oh, is it oh man, I'm really bad with song titles. What's the one? Is it it's not Just Love, it's like
Really Love?
Really Love, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the tight
That's
jam.
the one right there.
Oh, I love that one. I like the whole record. That is one of the standout tracks, though.
Yeah, big time.
Sure. Yeah. And since we're talking about music, and I know you don't have a whole lot of time, I wanted to ask you just to give us, if you have any current recommendations for music. Like, what are you listening to now, or is there anything that you could?
I'm really listening to a lot of kompas. It's like Haitian music. It's like very similar to Zouk. So I was like really into Kassav, and I'm pretty sure I've talked to every interviewer about Kassav since I found out about them. So kompas is like very similar to Zouk, but it's like Haitian. Okay. And the guitar players in this genre are just mind blowing, and I'm like really trying to wrap my head around, how that works. Favorite group in that genre right now is Taboo Combo. Wicked stuff. I've also been really digging into this like Russian kind of disco and boogie. I couldn't even name any of the artists because they're all written in Cyrillic, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it. I can't even read it.
Sure.
But it's wicked. It's funky, and it's kind of weird and like really Eastern European. Some of it is like really, really joyful, and some of it's like really cold, but it's dope. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I'll have to check them out. Do you by chance, somebody showed me not too long ago this app called Radio?
Oh yeah, love Radio.
I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh, Mark must be having this.
It's so funny. Everybody keeps, dude, do you know Radio? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy Chris from Father John Misty's band showed me that way back when we toured with them.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, this is it.
This is
so
like,
killing.
This is your app, almost. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the thing that I would. You're the first person. Yeah. My producer buddy Drew just like, do you know about this? I'm like, no. He's like, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I understood what it was, it's like, oh, Mark from Khruangbin loves this.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Holy shit.
Absolutely.
I have friends over, and I'm just like, what it has done for me is have these listening parties where we're just like random, like, okay, now you choose. Choose.
Pick a country, pick a decade. Yeah. Go for it.
It's like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
80s in Russia.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
80s all over the world is interesting, but
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like 80s was like such a good time for music all over the world. Politically, just really all over the map, which is probably one reason why the music's so good. Because no good art really comes from easy living,
Interesting, perspective there.
Even you're like, oh no, they have all kinds of. I mean, how could you have a hard time, on an island right in the Caribbean? Like, boy, you better look up some Caribbean politics, bro. That is not easy living, dude.
Right.
Post-colonialism. Oh, bro. No, that is not idyllic paradise, man.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
And since you've been traveling so much, so intentionally, where have you been that has been the craziest?
The craziest? Huh. I mean, like crazy as in how?
Like, have you felt unsafe? Like, did you feel like oh, wow, like we're here?
I mean, I grew up in Houston, Texas, so a lot of places don't feel unsafe. That's not to say Houston's dangerous. It's like just in Houston, you're exposed to so many different types of people, and you just, what one person might just, think is being like really unsafe and like sketched out. It's like, man, they're not going to mess with you unless you look like you want to be messed with or look scared. It's like a dog, It's like if a dog sees you and you look scared, that dog's going to mess with you. Totally. But if you're like, oh, you're so vicious, oh, come here, he's gonna, the ears are gonna relax and he might smile, the tail's gonna wag, It's just, what's crazy? I don't know. As far as like chaotic, I mean, India is chaotic, but I never felt unsafe or none of it seemed crazy. Yeah. Traffic is complete, Did
you guys play there?
Yeah.
How was the show?
Awesome. Oh, I love playing India.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, India's rad.
I can imagine them actually really loving this band.
Dude, I love India. Love going back. We've been to a few different places. Been to Mumbai, been to Delhi, been to New Delhi. We played this festival out in Rajasthan at this palace for, what was it called? It was kind of like India's desert days. Okay. It was in the desert and had a tent, and it's like gets really, really cold at night. It was, I guess, mainly electronic fest, and the prince, or the Raja, who like, this is his palace. He's like maybe in his late 20s. Whoa. And he helps put the festival on. Like, he just loves music. He just opens up his home to this wicked festival. That's amazing. which is another crazy juxtaposition, because you're in this opulent festival ground, this beautiful palace, and then you step right off the festival ground and you're in like the deepest Indian poverty, and it's like such a slap in the face. It's like, man, see, we got some serious work to do to bridge that gap between rich and poor. Yeah. Who knows if it will ever actually equalize? Probably not.
It's really interesting there because of the belief in the caste system still. Like, even though it's gone, but like, there's still an underlying feel. Yeah. That like, oh, you're born this way. And
well, that's a great way to keep people in check, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, and I think we have our own version of it all around in different places, but in America too. Even though we're told here, you can be anybody, you can be president of the United States, and that's almost true. Yeah, like almost, but like not anybody.
It's almost like when they were saying that they had a certain particular young person in mind. Right. They didn't necessarily mean. They don't really mean everybody.
Not you necessarily.
Yeah, not you. I'm talking about this person. This like real American. Yeah, they're gonna do it. But man, there's a lot of inequality all over the place, dude, and you see it a lot touring. It's really hard not to notice and see and internalize and pay attention to it, because we're all people, man. We gotta like look out for each other.
Agreed.
It's really easy to put other people in a box and be like, no, it's we don't have anything in common, but we do.
Absolutely. I've been faced with it. I just moved to LA here about 4 months ago, and the homeless rate has reached like 60,000 plus now.
Oh, no way! Our unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. How could that possibly be?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know. We should have been giving them all jobs.
Bro, I see it in Houston too, man.
Yeah,
big time. I never used to see tent cities underneath the freeway in Houston, but it's just like it is in LA.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it breaks my heart. I actually been thinking about any way I can do, to give back. Like, I want to find some or do something. I guess one of the ways you can do it is like go spend time at Skid Row, and like there's a bunch of things you can do to like donate your time. And so like, I have a few friends that are going to start hooking me up with just I can spend in a couple hours a week, doing something.
Also socks,
Socks is like the number one
it's
thing.
the number one thing, dude.
Number one thing.
Yeah. also just like spend time talking to them, see where their mind's at, because they might actually literally want to be in that lifestyle. Some people want to be homeless because they don't subscribe to this, normal or whatever it is. And there's other people who are out there who have mental issues, who need help, and no one's giving them help because they can't afford that type of care. When I lived in Houston, I worked at a church called St. John's, and they have a outreach program called Bread of Life. Okay. And they would feed the homeless. They will bring them in and house them when the weather gets really, really bad or super cold or whatever, and they'll help them find employment and help them get off the street if that's what they want. But it takes a lot. That stuff isn't free, and you got to put your money where your mouth is. I mean, at this point, I can afford to go have a nice dinner, so it's well, why should I not, buy this man a nice dinner too, or give him what he needs so we can find a place to stay tonight. It's just that kind of stuff really, really is important to me, and it's important to us as a band.
It seems like you guys are such a caring group. That's the thing I got from you the very first time we met, and you and Laura and DJ all seem like such nice, warm people, and you seem like you care about.
We care a lot.
The world. That's why. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great song too, by the way.
What, We Are the World?
No, We Care a Lot.
Oh, Faith No More.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's one of my
Bay
favorites.
Area, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my absolute favorites. But I appreciate that it means a lot to you, and that your fellow humans care, that you care about them, and I think that you're right. Talking to them, to anybody that's down and out, you can't underestimate what that can do for them for that day. Just trying to acknowledge their existence.
Yeah, man, 'cause most people don't, and you don't know their circumstance. You know, so you're like, oh, I don't give money to homeless people because they're just, they're gonna buy drugs, or they're just faking it. It's man, you don't know his circumstance.
My mom just visited me here in LA, so her first time in a long time. She's down here and she saw a lot of it, and she's like, I would give that man money, but I don't know what if he buys drugs. I said, Mom, I appreciate that outlook, but it's not up to you. It's not your responsibility to know what they do. It's your responsibility to care for others. So
you gotta care.
If we have a couple extra bucks, let's give it to them.
Yeah,
and let it go.
I mean, heck, dude, plenty of people who got plenty of money spend money on drugs just to escape whatever stresses they're in. So
right,
man, everybody needs some kind of relief.
It's true.
I mean, I know addiction is a big problem, but dude, sometimes you just want to just get out of what you're in. You know, it's if you're gonna take this money and go buy some crack, I mean, do you, man? Not up to me.
True, absolutely.
What can I say? It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's gnarly. That was kind of a dark turn, but it's okay.
It's real.
It's
this
real.
Is real life,
that's
man.
The thing I really appreciate about you. Every time we've talked, it's always been really real. So I can appreciate the real subject matter, and just the fact that there's so much heart coming from you and this band. I thank you.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
That's a big deal. Any last musical recommendations or anything? You kind of threw out a few there for us.
Let's see here. Musical recommendations. Man, I've really been also dipping into Numero Group's reissues that they've been doing.
Okay.
They're really doing some amazing work and showcasing artists that, maybe they made a private press of 500, 600 copies, and it might have been kind of big in their city or neighborhood or whatever, but they're finding some rad stuff and putting it back out. And there's some amazing stuff in their catalog. One of the things that I really, really enjoyed was this song called Ebb Tide. It's by Houston and Dorsey. It's this surf guitar thing, but it's so atmospheric. It's a lot of delays and reverbs, but it's so old. It sounds like it was carved out of wood.
Wow.
Probably mid to late 50s, possibly. Maybe it was made in 1970 with a low budget. I don't know, but it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
All right, thank you so much.
Players Pick Podcast, Picks and Perspective with Chris Johnson.
This episode of Players Pick Podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Jim Dunlop Guitar Products, Kiesel Custom Guitars, and Mackie Headphones and Mixers. Sound design by Drew of the Drew, and voiceovers by the amazing Mini Joe. I have been your host, Chris Johnson. Until next time.